I should start working on my cosplays for GeekCon. Wonder what'll be good this year. Hey, Glix, any ideas for cosplay for GeekCon?
Celeste, why don't you ask someone who has a corporeal body rather than the AI of your ship?
I mean, that's a good idea, but who?
Initiating cosplay protocol. Bringing over Paris cosplay in 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Oh, hi, Paris. Welcome to the Planet Geekery.
Hi.
Today on Comm Talk, we're talking about cosplay. Glix, what is going on?
We are receiving a signal from a new area on the planet Geekery.
All right, let's see what the planet has for us today.
Opening forms in 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to episode 130 of Comm Talk, the podcast extension of Geek Devotions, the show from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. I am Celeste, and today we are talking about cosplay with Miss Paris Cosplay, who is really awesome. She is a Christian, and she loves Jesus like we do, and she cosplays some really cool things. So, Paris, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to be here, Celeste.
We are excited to have you. There is a taco machine around the corner. So if you get hungry, just, run on over there, assuming that it's working. For a while, we have problems with the taco machine. Every once in a while, it goes to different ships or gets ejected or, things happen. So let's get into talking about cosplay. Now, just in case you don't know, because I know you're not from our area, GeekCon is our local Comic-Con where I regularly cosplay. I don't cosplay all the time. I just cosplay for that because it takes me that long to put things together. So what got you into cosplay?
Yes. So I actually am foggy on where I exactly started cosplay. So it was either princess parties where I dressed up as Moana for the Renaissance Festival, and people started asking if I did princess parties, and I said no, and I started to think about it, and I Googled Houston princess parties, and I literally emailed all of them. I got an audition, and I became a party princess. So
That's
was
awesome.
either there or in 2017, I attended my first anime convention, and I dressed up as Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. So I don't remember which came first, but it was one of those.
One of those. Either way, that's pretty awesome. I've looked into doing the princess party thing, but I just don't have the ability to do that. But it looks like a lot of fun. Okay, so we mentioned that you are a Christian. So tell us a little bit about yourself outside of cosplay, your faith, what that looks like for you. Just, we'd like to get to know you.
Yes. So I became a Christian in 7th grade. And interestingly, I grew up with a New Age mom and an atheist dad, or stepdad. So I'm actually the only one in my family that is a Christian. And my best friend at the time, her name's Alexis, and we're still friends. She had invited me to her church. And I remember going for social reasons, just because it was something fun to do. And I remember they would give the invitation of raise your hand if you don't know who Jesus is. And I remember forcibly putting my hands in my lap and I am not doing that. That is so embarrassing. And one day they had this Lifehouse skit, and it was called With Everything. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but basically it's this girl and she's falling into all these temptations, just like love, money, and none of it is satisfying her. She's constantly feeling abandoned and rejected. And Jesus is there the entire time, even though she feels like he has left her. And in the end, he's just and all of the sin and all of the horrible, bad feelings just go out all over the place. And I was crying. I was 7th grader, just bawling my eyes out. And I was like, I want that so bad. I want to feel like I'll never be abandoned, and there's always going to be someone who's never going to leave me, no matter what I do, no matter what guilt I feel. They're never going to leave me. And so that's when I came to Christ, and I believe I accepted Christ into my heart and into my life. And I feel like my faith is a huge part of everything that I do. It's why I treat people the way I treat people. It's how I communicate with people. It's in my work. It's my charisma. I mean, I think everything in my life is connected to my faith.
That's awesome. We are firm believers of including God in everything you do. Personally, Dallas and I are. And so that's how we ended up coming with Geek Devotions, is we're like, well, we're geeks and Jesus is everywhere.
Yes.
So let's combine those two. Okay, so on your social media, you have a lot of balloon cosplays. Why balloon
Why
cosplay?
Balloon Cosplays? So I've been friends with Josh, Balloon Josh, for a really long time. I met him actually working an event at, oh no, what is it called? Bedrock City Comics. I was working an event at Bedrock City Comics for Houston Hero headquarters, and I was Harley Quinn, and me and the other entertainers went to go greet the balloon artist, and we were like, oh my gosh, these are so cool. And he was actually like getting off the clock, and he was like, I'm so tired. And we were like, please. And so he's like, fine. And so he made us a rose from Beauty and the Beast, and it was so legit and so cool. But anyways,
That's awesome.
We collaborated with him, and over COVID, over quarantine, I actually like stopped cosplaying, and I took a break, and I just quarantined and played Animal Crossing. I think I have 600
Yes.
hours on Animal Crossing. And
That's impressive.
as we started nearing normalcy, it wasn't normal, but as we started nearing you can go outside, I was like, Josh, let's collaborate again. And we did Hatsune Miku. And it went viral on TikTok. And I was like, on my TikTok. He didn't
Nice.
have a TikTok. And so I was like, Josh, you need to get on TikTok. Like, there's a platform for you here. Like, they love you. And so he got on TikTok and he got addicted. And so at that time, I was on unemployment. So I wasn't working. And we were cranking out like 3 balloon cosplays a week. Like, we were
wow.
like, we've been in quarantine. We are extroverts. Like, we need to crank out this content. And I will say, I personally burn out. He's still going. He's an Energizer Bunny. I burnt out. So now we do like 2 a month. Still a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how we got into the balloon cosplays. We became like this dynamic duo of like I was like the poster child of the balloon cosplays, and he's the talented, amazing balloon artist.
Right. He is definitely very talented, because like the outfits, I'm sitting here going, I don't understand how he makes the balloons do that. Like, it's so awesome. So Insider actually featured one of his videos. So did they contact you? Did they take a video that was already there? Did they contact him? Like, how did all of that work?
Yes. So Insider reached out to Balloon Josh and asked to collaborate, and we were really excited. He wanted it to be me because this was something like we started together. And so he was like, will you please do this? And they requested Belle. And then the wig is from Fairy Tale headquarters, where I work for the Princess Party. So it's kind of like a little trio collaboration. But yeah, they reached out to us, and we filmed it all here at my house, and it was so much fun.
So that all sounds super fun and super cool. And I was so hyped to see that video. I actually went and followed Balloon Josh on TikTok because I was like, this is cool. What's happening here?
Oh, and Josh is also a Christian. And
is he really?
we both have ministry degrees. So
that is
he has
awesome.
a bachelor's in ministry, and I have a master's in ministry.
That is fantastic. Well, this leads into the next question, which is, how do you incorporate your faith in with your cosplay?
Yes. So you probably already do this based on just your mission and everything that you guys do, but same approach of a lot of people feel like you have to put your faith and your hobbies and interests on a scale. And it's like, do I love God more? And does God weigh more than my interests and my hobbies? And I tend to look at it as more of an integrative approach of God is in
Hmm.
everything. He's in your speech, he's in your food, he's in literally everything. And so it's not like, does God weigh more than cosplay? It's God is like a part of my cosplay. He's in my cosplay, he's involved in it. It's gratitude, it's thanking him for the opportunities that cosplay has brought, for bringing this passion and interest into my life. So it's really going about it in a gratitude way and including him in it, having an opportunity to share the gospel with people through cosplay. Um, and so
Yeah,
that's kind of how I try to integrate my faith into my interests and my hobbies.
that's awesome. Like I said earlier, Dallas and I are big into including God in everything because I mean he's always around. Kind of how we started Geek Devotions.
Mm-hmm.
So and just how we ourselves approach
Mm-hmm.
life. So it's nice to hear that we're not the only
Yes, and
ones.
my approach, and I guess Beneath the Tangles too, name drop,
Oh yeah.
because I love that yours is like Geek Devotions and it's very clear what your message is. I feel like myself and Beneath the Tangles, we're more present ourselves as like a cosplayer and an anime blog, and then behind the scenes, we have faith kind of
Yeah.
at the back, not at the back, but like at the as a foundation for what we do. And so it brings opportunities in a way that's like we're getting non-believers coming onto our platforms, and it
Hmm.
gives us an opportunity to speak to non-believers. And I have had way more opportunities than you might think. Just by
Hmm.
showing God's grace and compassion, I'll have people in my messages just telling me what they're going through and what's going on, and I'll wait for the opportunity where someone will be like, "Why are you being so nice?" And I'm like, "Honestly,
Yeah.
let me tell you why." And I
This is
think
why.
that's really awesome because I'm not trying to force anything on anyone, and I'm not trying to hit you in the head with my Bible, but I want you to
Right.
see like this is what Christ does. If you have ever experienced any religious trauma or church hurt and that has caused you to turn away or reject God, like I feel for you and I'm so sorry that you experienced that. I want to show you who God really is. So,
Yeah. That's great. It sounds like you have a heart for that specifically for church hurts and
mm,
things. So we have multiple facets to Geek Devotions. The podcast is part of it. The YouTube show is part of it, but we also stream on
mm,
Twitch. And our motto for there is "You're more important than the game."
mm.
So we will pause the game, we'll turn off the game if someone needs to talk, if they need prayer, if whatever. But other than that, we range from anything from talking about deep theological things to talking about what our favorite topping of
I
tacos
love
are.
that.
So it's a mixed
I
bag.
I
Now,
love that. That's awesome.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. So currently we've been playing through Kingdom Hearts
Yes.
because I've never played and it's an interesting experience.
Yes. I have found too that people are not willing to listen if you approach them with criticism and judgment. But
Yeah.
when you approach them with grace and love and you really see them for who they are and love
Hmm.
on them regardless of their differences, they're more open and susceptible to hearing where you're coming from.
Absolutely. That and relationship. If you can build even just a virtual relationship with somebody of they know how you respond to things, they know that you're someone they can trust, then they're
Yes.
more likely to hear from you what actually needs to be said in their life.
Yes.
So, and God uses that.
He does.
Well, speaking of our listeners and our other people, we have a Facebook group and we put in there earlier this week asking for questions. So would you be okay answering some questions from our listeners?
Sure.
Okay. So the first one is, what are some of the basics someone should have to get into cosplay?
Basics. I think oh, that's a good question. Some of the basics someone should have to get into cosplay. I don't think you need anything. That sounds weird, but you can start cosplaying with literally anything. Like you could have some makeup and you can do your face paint to look like a cosplay that you like. You can have a closet cosplay, just go in your closet and put pieces together that look like a simple character that you like. You can start by putting your hair in pigtails and wearing a black dress and being Misa from Death Note. I don't think you have to have any basics. I think you can start with what you have at home.
That's awesome. I would agree. I love low-key cosplays.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, these are comfortable clothes, but I look like somebody.
Yes, I have a Isabelle cosplay from Animal Crossing, and I had like, you know those monkeys that have like the little arms and the legs and you can like hook it to your neck? I like cut off his arms and made them dog ears, and I pinned them and they look like little dog ears, and just like did my makeup, and that was Isabelle, and it was cute.
There you go.
Yep.
She is adorable, and now I kind of want to go find a monkey to cut off the arms, and we may get Dallas to cut that part out because it sounds kind of creepy.
It does.
He might leave it in, though, knowing him.
I really will leave it in here for you. Sorry, babe.
Okay. So the next question is, do you repurpose cosplays into other characters / pieces you make for them, or do you just keep everything for one cosplay?
It depends. I repurpose wigs a lot, and I have a lot of wigs. I don't really repurpose cosplays. Oh, I lied. I am. So I have a Misa cosplay, and I'm planning to repurpose that for a Bowsette in the future. I'll use the same dress, but I'm going to swap out the wig and accessories. So there is that. Sometimes, honestly, there's a lot of cosplays that need the same pieces, but I try to store my cosplays together so I can just grab the whole thing and it's all together. So I've actually gotten to the place where if two cosplays need the same piece, I would honestly rather buy the matching piece so that I could keep it all together, because I want to be able to grab it and run. I don't want to have to run around digging for the white pair of leggings or whatever it is that I need.
I totally understand that. So, okay. So what has been your favorite cosplay to make or embody? Or what is one you really want to do but haven't yet?
My favorite to embody, I think, is Seraphine, and honestly right now Starfire, because I feel like I'm a little bit of like a kinny with them. Seraphine's from League of Legends, and I love that cosplay. And Starfire I just feel like I kin with, so I'm like, oh, I love this cosplay so much. My favorite one that I made a Sleigh Bell Katarina, also from League of Legends. So I sewed I honestly got a dress. It was a big Santa dress, and it was really big and ugly. I wish I had pictures, and I totally reconstructed it and sewed it into a tube top dress. And then I added fur. I sewed fur to the bottom and to the top. And then I 3D printed the daggers. And so I was really proud of that as a project. But since it's a Christmas one, I'm like, it's not really my favorite, but I did really love it.
That one looked awesome just from the pictures.
Thank you.
So, and I love that you took something that already was existing and repurposed it, because it's not like you're having to go and buy all the fresh materials and sew all the seams. Like, it's the what I consider the easier way, although I'm not sure it's easy or not. But
I'm hoping to make my first full made from scratch cosplay this year. That was one of my goals. We'll see if it happens, because I work crazy hours and I'm very busy and I have to keep up with Patreon, and so we'll see if it happens, but that's my plan for this year.
Okay. So how long does it take you to plan and prep for a cosplay?
It depends on the cosplay. I'll be honest, the balloon cosplays, we literally pick out something the night before. Like, I'm like, what wigs do I have? What can we do with this wig? And then we like just wig it. So that's really fun. So those are really fast. I need to think of examples. It just depends on the cosplay. Like, some of them are really quick and thrown together, and some of them take more planning. Like if I need to alter something or style the wig, or for example, I'm going to be doing like the full demon version of Nezuko, where she has like and that one's taking longer because I'm going to do like tattoos on my legs for her I honestly haven't even seen season 2 yet. I need to watch it. But I know she has
We haven't started it either.
Oh, good. I'm like, So,
we just watched Mugen Train. I don't know how to say it.
yes.
We just watched the movie like
Yeah,
2
it was
weeks ago.
so good. So and I have to prep the FX, so that one takes longer. Or if you're hand making your cosplay, that takes longer. Like 3D printing and painting and buffing, that takes longer. So it just depends on, like, are you buying the cosplay and putting it together? Are you making, or are you altering, or are you adding? I mean, it depends. There's not really a short answer for that.
Okay. So what do you think is your most underrated cosplay? Like it's one that either comes from a show that's not very popular, or it's one that you feel like doesn't get the reaction you would think, however you want to interpret that.
I think C2 from Code Geass. I thought that photo shoot slapped and nobody cared about it. But I was like, what? So yeah, C2 from Code Geass.
Nice. So I haven't watched a ton of older anime, but we started Code Geass. I can't say words. Like maybe a year ago, and I was like, this is really good. And then we got into Demon Slayer, and I was like, ooh, this is really good. So I tend to hop around. Okay, so do you prefer well-known characters or original characters?
I actually talk about this with one of my friends a lot. I am honestly very trendy. I'm not even going to lie. And I think it's because I'm very extroverted and I love community. So I like things that I can talk about with other people. Just like even video games, I prefer games I can play with friends because I'm very social. So I love things that are trending and I like to be in the know so that I can talk about it with friends and it maintains my interest. But if there are cosplays that are like not very well known and I really love the character, I'd still cosplay it even though it wouldn't get the traction that maybe I would think it deserves. But I do tend to be more trendy, to be honest.
I love a good cosplay when just looking at other people's that you're sitting here going, wait, what? And you have to think about it for a second because, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, we like to interact with the cosplayers. So I love to find a cosplay that's really like hard to peg because then I'm sitting here going, I recognize that, and it provides an opportunity for conversation.
Yes.
Like the guy.
Go ahead.
Oh, there was a guy one year at GeekCon that dressed up as Quail Man, and from Doug. I don't know if you remember that show, if you ever watched that show. And so it looked like a guy just walking around with underwear over his pants. And Dallas is like, Quail Man. And the guy goes, yes, one of two people. Thank you.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So
on that same token, sometimes now that I've said that, I don't like to cosplay characters that are so overly done that I'll just get drowned into the crowd. So like Nezuko, again, I actually don't love wearing her to conventions because so many people wear her. So then I feel like I'm just like blending in with the crowd and I want to stand out
one
a
of the
little
Nezuko's.
bit.
Yeah.
So no hate to Nezuko. I'm a Nezuko cosplayer too, but sometimes I feel like I get drowned out with all the other Nezukos.
Yeah, I understand that. So how much money do you limit yourself when you're beginning a cosplay?
I am very much a cheapskate. I've actually learned in my short cosplay career that sometimes quality is better just to make it last and so that it looks good. But I will still try to find my cheapest way to get things done. So honestly, I think the most I've ever spent on a cosplay is $200. I don't think I've ever spent more than that. The average I think I spend on a cosplay is probably around $60.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of things out there that you can spend money on when it comes to cosplay. So
yeah,
keeping it that low is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm cheap.
Okay, so the same person asked this next question, in case you couldn't guess that. And it goes, building upon that question, do you increase your yearly budget, or do you have a budget if, like, I'm going to spend this much money on cosplays this year, or do you increase it as you go? Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like, how does that work for you?
I don't budget. I probably should. The way I have logic is because I do make money off of cosplay. So to me, I'm like, cosplay pays for itself because I have all these things that are helping me fund it. So that's why I am grateful for Patreon, because it helps me be able to afford the cosplays, and then TikTok helps me be able to afford the cosplays because I'm on the creator fund. So it's like that money just goes back into cosplay. It's not like I put it back in. But
doesn't pay bills, but it does pay for cosplay. It pays
for the cosplays. So does the budget change? It depends on how much I love the character. So if I am like, I love this character, then I'm willing to spend more on it because it's like, it will make me happy and I love it. If it's a character that I'm not like totally obsessed with, then I'm like, okay, how could I do this as cheap as possible because it's highly requested. And I don't really care about it, but I still want to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so where do you recommend shopping for supplies from?
Everywhere. I really like, for fabrics, I like high fashion fabric in Houston. If you're not in Houston, I know like the go-to is Hobby Lobby. Going to Hobby Lobby, getting your fabric there. For cosplays to buy, I actually really like Amazon. I think Amazon has great cosplays. I often personally look for I look for cosplay businesses. So like I just ordered a Mona cosplay. I got it from Doki Doki, and then like I watch a lot of YouTube videos too. I'll look up like cosplay review for this character, and if I like one, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to order that one because it looks good on her. So I recommend doing your research if it's a cosplay you really like and you want to buy it, and then finding one that you really like, and then finding who made it, and then buying that one. That's what I do.
Yeah. So for those of our listeners who have not interacted with your social medias, where can they find you so that they can see all the amazing things that you do?
I keep it super easy. You just look up Paris Cosplays on literally everything. So Paris Cosplays on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. On TikTok, it has an extra S because Paris Cosplays was already taken. But everywhere else, it's just Paris Cosplays.
And we will have links to all of that below in the show notes.
Yay!
So, Paris, thank you so much for coming onto the ship. I will get Glix to send you back to your home, and we will talk to you next time. Don't forget, guys, that this is Anime April. We are in the midst of all the anime things. We had a review on the website come out on July and April. We've had devotions on, what did we do devotions on? Devotions on Spy Family, and I'm thinking, I know these. I wrote 2 of the 4 of them. As of this coming out, Dallas will be doing one potentially on Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know if he's still going to be doing that. He may have changed animes. I don't know. So, check out all the things. So, okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Comm Talk today. If you have loved this episode, head on over to Apple Podcasts to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It is very much appreciated. So until next time, stay devoted, peace, and love.